Yo, yo, yo. What's up? Happy Monday. I hope. Yo, Ferret, what's going on, buddy? How was your weekend? How'd the archery stuff go, man? Happy Monday. Everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend and a happy Mother's Day. I know it can be a brutal day on some occasions for some people, but hopefully, if it's one of those days that brings up those loved and lost ones, then hopefully you'll be able to think of some of those good times, and it's not totally just a somber event for you, you know what I mean? But I hope everybody had a great weekend anyways. Oh, nice, dudes. That's fantastic, man. GG's. Yo, that's great. Fantastic. Awesome, man. Good stuff, man. We'll have to tell her I said good job. That's great. That's great. Yeah, so I've just made the decision to not do any gaming stuff until Friday. So, is it? Yeah, you're right, it was. It got cranked up at some point. Thanks, man, thanks. Okay, so, now that everybody can hear me, apologies. I'll do that on the Loop Hero stuff. The Loop Hero soundtrack's really soft, man, so I'll crank it up sometimes and then I'll forget that I actually cranked up the, it's one of those soundtracks that just doesn't bang as hard as some of the other ones, so I'll crank it up, and then whenever I end, I'll forget to turn it back down, so sorry. Hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, hope you had a good weekend. I made the decision to just not do any gaming content until Friday. I'm going to focus on some other stuff. I feel like I need a little bit of a break from just doing so much content right now. So I'm going to do the news every day still, but I just need a bit of a break to focus on some other stuff. So we'll get back to gaming on Friday, but I need some time to focus on some other things. So that's the jam. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to get back centered. Get back, get some things taken care of that I need to get taken care of that have been weighing on me a little bit, and that way I can focus on having fun while I'm playing and not feel like I've got other things weighing on me that need to be taken care of while I'm playing games all day. As much as I love to play games all day, sometimes it just unfortunately there are occasions where it feels like there are other things that need to be done, and I can't help but have those things kind of stuck in the back of my head a little bit. So we're gonna do that. We'll keep doing the news every day, and then we'll get back to doing news and gaming content starting on Friday. We'll be back to normal schedule stuff. So hopefully everybody understands. I just need a little bit of a break to get back to the way things need to be. So that's the jam. Let's go ahead and dive in here. Sorry for the music busting everybody's eardrums out, man. I'm sorry about that. What we are listening to this morning, though, is beats per minute. We listen to it a lot. Game's dope. FPS roguelike game. Rhythm based also, and it's got a banging soundtrack, so highly recommend go check it out. Okay. Very good stuff, very good stuff. We'll go ahead and kill that. Let's go ahead and get into the news, see what we got. We got an article already this morning from our buddy Mithril. Yeah, we got this guy. One day post-launch, developers of Switch emulator Yuzu announced that Tears of the Kingdom is playable full speed on most hardware with no hacks needed. So we'll take a look at that. Again, I don't think there's anything, I mean, as long as you own the game, there's not an issue with you emulating. As long as you own the game, you own the hardware, then I mean you're allowed to emulate this stuff. I mean that's the way it works. So, but circumventing the process of promoting a healthy industry by not purchasing and just emulating and which is at its core, that's just piracy, right? Then that's not healthy. But we'll take a look at this, okay? Love that Java. 5 games leaving Game Pass today. Take a peek at that. Fortnite swapping out Arena for a proper ranked mode. Interesting. Okay. Square Enix wants to release more higher quality games. Let's take a peek at that. I mean, yo, yeah, yeah. Thanks, Kayla. Yeah, hopefully it plays out in our, in my favor here. We'll see. Game sevens are always a tough one, man. The do or die situation. I was really hoping we would just be done with this day before yesterday, but here we are, man. We'll be playing at home though, so that's good. We'll see how it goes. They're a good team, man. The Kraken are a good team, and the Golden Knights won last night, so that's who hopefully we'll be moving on to play. They're a really good team too. So I know a lot of people are probably hoping for the Golden Knights and Kraken matchup because those are the two new expansion teams, and I think that's an interesting play for a lot of people. But I don't care. I want the stars in it. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. I think that if Square really wants, I mean, more higher quality game releases, cool. I think they also need to focus on, we know Square quite often they've got this like real collaboration with Sony nowadays, where a lot of their games are proprietary and first party for the PlayStation console. And look, to be completely honest, as far as I'm concerned, if they can make their games as high quality as they want, but if they don't port over well to other consoles, if they don't do a good job of making sure that quality is porting over well to the other platforms after that that initial window is finished, of the being PlayStation only, then what's it matter, right? Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've never been one of those people, man. But yeah, you're not wrong. It does happen a lot. Yep, happens a lot. We'll see. We'll see what Square's trying. I mean, the other thing we know about Square right now is that they want to talk about more higher quality games, but we know how heavily invested and focused they are right now in like the Web3 blockchain NFT space of things. So really, what that does is tell me that they're not as interested in quality as they are money. So I don't know. We'll take a peek, see what this has to say. Microsoft won't stick with 12-month window for what? Xbox Game Showcase 2023. Oh, you know what this is about? This is about the fact of like what they did last year, I think, with announcing a lot of games that were going to be releasing within a year of their showcase last summer that haven't hit yet. And they're saying we're not going to do that this year. We're not going to be saying, yo, we got games they're going to be releasing within the next year. We're not doing that this year because they're getting backlash for it now, probably. We want quality games too, no doubt about it. Yo, look at this number. Nintendo made $27 billion from first party games so far across Switch's lifespan. So we're talking over the past 7 years, roughly. Nintendo has made $27 billion just from their first party titles. That's just from first party that's just from software revenue. That's not from like what else they've made off of like their subscription services or anything like that. It's just this goes to show like how much money they make off their titles, and their titles never going on sale hardly or anything like. That's a lot of flipping money, dude. 27 billion over the past little bit less than 7 years just from first party titles. It's a big old chunk of change, man. That's about to go up quite a bit too with Tears of the Kingdom. It's going to go up quite a bit with Tears of the Kingdom there. I wonder how much they've already made off Tears of the Kingdom. We'll take a look at that though. We already talked about that. You know, I didn't look into this yet, but yo, random road time. Let's go. Forever Alone. Nice. Let me see something real quick. Hmm. What I was worried about. I didn't look at this yesterday, but what I was just taking a quick peek at was like the ability to find like an overlay for the Switch to show FPS, real time frames. It appears that you've kind of got to like mod the Switch a little bit. It's not just like an easy plug in or anything. I don't know. I'll have to look into it a little bit more and see, you know. But I would like to be able to do that while we continue playing Tears of the Kingdom on it, just to get a real time view of like what the frames are doing in the game. Because I do think it's an issue with. Again, I don't think that the frame drop is like terrible. It's not getting real bad. And if it is, it's just for a split second. And I think that's why on the output, if I notice it, the output is not going to be noticeable really for you guys. But I have seen it, and I think that's why I would like to be able to show an FPS monitor on screen just to get a look at what the frames are doing in game. Just because I'm a tech guy, you know what I mean? That's the only. I'm not. I don't think it's really a knock on the game at all. I'm not knocking on the game. it's, if anything, again, it's a knock on the hardware. The hardware is just old and underpowered for the type. I mean, I'm really impressed with what Nintendo has gotten done with both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And I think that obviously, I think if you own the game and you own the hardware, emulating it and getting 60 frames would feel really, really good. It would feel really, really good. Davey, what up, friendo? Yeah, I know. Yeah, and that's I remember that too. Yeah, I remember that too, Ferret. Yeah, yeah, I remember that too. And I remember noting it, and then you guys being like, "Well, it doesn't look that bad," and like especially in those areas where it was just constant, I would note it, and everybody was like, "Well, it doesn't look that bad to me," but it was terrible for me, you know. And so I think that's why I would just like to like have some way to. I mean, I think that's another that's another reason. That's just another way to point out why I enjoy PC gaming so much. It's so easy to just run like an overlay and show so many different stats. Whereas if you want to do something like that on like a console, it's not as easy of a thing to get going, I don't think. But I'm gonna look into it and see what I can do by the time we start gaming again on Friday. What's going on, Davey? How you doing, buddy? Happy Monday, man. So no, I haven't gone back and looked, man. I haven't. No, no, I haven't. I would have to go back and take a look at some Breath of the Wild video and try to locate areas where I was in the forest to see what it looked like on the VOD and everything too. I think if I would have to try to see if I could find time to do that. That's the problem. It's like finding time to be able to do that with everything else I have going on. So, I'll see if I can find a bit to narrow that down. There's a lot of VOD out there, though. There's a lot of VOD for the gameplay of Breath of the Wild, and I would have to go. I would have to go scrubbing a little bit to find it and take a look. Which, I mean, we were in the Deku Forest for a good amount of time in that game too, in and out of it. Yeah. No, I do think that part of it is just the output. I think that from what I experience in the game, and look, I know Cash wanted to bring up like, well, are you sure it's not just a frame rate you're running on your monitor? That doesn't matter because what you're putting out through the capture card, your native frame rate for your monitor has nothing to do with what the hardware being put through your uh, the hardware running like console wise can't match anything output wise to your monitor anyways. The frame rate you're going to get is the frame rate you're going to get on the hardware that you're playing the game at. It doesn't try to output the frames up to like what your native monitor refresh rate is. That's not the way that works. While my monitor is like a higher refresh rate, it's not like putting the switch through an internal capture card makes the frame rate go up to a higher frame rate. That's not the way that works. That's what Cash was trying, I guess, trying to say maybe yesterday or whatever. But that's not the way. That's not the way tech works. That's not the way that kind of technology works. So it's like whatever your device being input to the capture card is going frame rate wise. That's what it outputs to your monitor at. That's just the way that works. So it's just yeah. Well, I mean, basically all the capture card does it just captures. All it is like so like the switch, right? The switch takes your HDMI cable. It runs to an input for the capture card. The capture card sits on a PCIe slot, right? You can either have an internal or external. I have an internal, so it's actually it's on a PCIe slot in my computer. It runs into an input, and then there's an output that goes to my monitor. So it just actually takes whatever the hardware is doing It allows me to capture it in my PC to put it into my OBS so you guys can see exactly what's happening on the hardware that I'm playing it on. And it puts exactly what's happening on that hardware on my monitor. There's no way for me to adjust the frame rate or anything like that. Just because my monitor can run a higher frame rate on my PC, I can't adjust that or anything. All it does is take like exactly what the hardware does and pushes it straight out into my PC and straight out to my monitor too. So there's no way for me to take what the Switch is outputting and raise the frame rate on it or anything. It doesn't work like that. It's just you get what you get. That's just the way that works. So you can't. I mean, it's basically you're capped off by whatever hardware is that is running through the capture card. That's the way that works. You can't get anything more out of it, you know? I think maybe what he was getting at was like, because I have a higher refresh rate monitor, and could it be affecting what I'm seeing more than what you guys are seeing? Because maybe that's what he was getting at, because I do have a higher refresh rate monitor, and the Switch is a lower frame rate, Well, it's a big deal in the gaming industry right now. It's a big deal in the gaming industry all the way around. That's why I think we talk about it a little bit. Yeah, yeah. I mean, fair. I mean, I know that you haven't dealt with capture cards and everything like that, but I mean, you're a very well versed technical individual, so um, it's I have never experienced anything on that front that has given me notion that it works any way different than that. And I have not used capture cards extensively, just like rarely whenever I'm doing some like Switch gameplay or stuff like that whenever I'm streaming, but um, it's just not to me, and I probably need to do a little bit more research and education on it because I'm not real well versed in it either. But it's just not something that makes a lot of logical sense to me that it would affect anything, because you can't it's not the same thing as taking a game or software, or it's not like you're emulating the hardware in a PC and then being able to push that out at whatever frame rate your monitor can support. You're limited by what the actual hardware is being run and being input to your capture card, and then it's just being straight output to a monitor, right? So it'd be the same exact thing as, like, even if it wasn't a capture card, it'd be the same thing as just taking the Switch and inputting it directly to the monitor. It still wouldn't affect anything. You'd still be getting the frame rate cap that the Switch has, that it shows you, right? That's the thing. That's what I'm getting at. It's not like, because my monitor can run a higher frame rate or a higher, it's got a higher frame rate on it. It wouldn't affect anything because you're capped by what the Switch hardware can output, right? That's exactly what it is. So it doesn't matter if it goes through the capture card or not. All the capture card does is allows you to take whatever that video is and output it to you guys. Yeah. Whereas if I was connecting it directly to my monitor, it's the same thing with any monitor, any TV or whatever. You're not going to be able to increase what the Switch outputs, right? You're still capped by what that hardware is. It is what it is. Well, it's well, one of the things we were talking about was the reason it's a topic, Davey, is because one of the things we were getting at was to me, it appears to be a more apparent thing when it happens than it does to maybe people that are viewing the content. But I think that's just naturally something that happens from other games we've played whenever I have frame rate issues. It's much more apparent on my side playing the game than it is naturally because it's being output and kind of pushed across the network and everything. I don't think it's quite as apparent of an issue for you guys. Don't see it quite as drastically as I do, and I think it's just because of what happens whenever all the data gets pushed through the servers and you just don't see it the same way I do. I think there's something that goes on there with that. So that's one of the things we've been getting at. So I know that Davey's tired of hearing it apparently, but we're just trying to like flesh out the issue and talk about what could be, the cause of is there anything else that could be affecting what you guys see as opposed to what I see and things like that, man. That's it. But I need to do more research on it too. Just naturally being somebody that's into tech, I mean, the way that the capture card setup works, it doesn't seem like something that should ever be affected by, no matter what your frame rate is on the monitor. It shouldn't affect that at all. So I don't know, but yeah, I would need to go back and take a look at the Breath of the Wild stuff too and see what the VOD looked like compared to what I was experiencing in game. But I still, yeah, at the heart of it, I think Nintendo's done a great job with getting done what they've got done. I don't think it's significant, but I do think that there's, it does show the limitations of the Nintendo hardware. Absolutely. And I do think that everybody's going to have a better job. No, I haven't. I haven't worked on that anymore. Actually, I do think I know what I think what I'll have to probably end up doing is running component to HDMI out is what I'll probably have to do. If you run component to a splitter, it'll probably get rid of the issue, or just run component. Like I'm probably gonna have to run a component cable to an HDMI to bypass the issue. So I've got my component cable. I just need to get. I need to buy one other part to make it work. I've got to get a basically a converter. I've got to get a converter that'll do a component to HDMI, and that'll be the big test. That'll be the big test right there. I mean, to be fair, I could just emulate it. I own the game. I own a PS3. I could just emulate it if I wanted to. I just didn't want to. I like playing on the consoles. So, but I need to go ahead and buy it and try it out and see if it'll work. It was just everything else I had read about being able to get around that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I have the component kit, like all the stuff for my consoles and everything. I've kept all that stuff. I have I've still got like my PS3 box, dude. And like anytime I need to move, my PS3 goes back into the PS3 box. I've got all the manuals and all the cables and stuff that I never use. All that stuff's still in there, And I never used component cables for the PS3, so all that stuff's still in there. I went and found it already, but I don't have component to HDMI converter, so I would have to grab one of those, which it's not expensive. I just haven't bought one yet to try it out. I've been just busy with other stuff, so. But that would be the next trial to get that taken care of. If that's not the case, it's just not worth the effort. I'll just emulate it. I'll just get a PS3 emulator and I'll just play flipping Symphony of the Night. I'll just emulate it. I don't want to. I'd rather not, but it's whatever. It's not worth the trouble, I guess, if that's the case. We'll see how it goes though. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think that I wasn't ever trying to knock Tears of the Kingdom. I was just trying to get across like what I was experiencing in the game, and it was exactly what I figured I would see. I think Nintendo's done a great job with the game, considering what the hardware is. Yeah. But the fact that there's already some really good emulation, emulators out there running the game at like 60 frames, I would imagine that this game plays very, very, very well at a like constant 60 frames. I think that's my biggest thing is, games like this, action RPG games, and this is why, Davey, it's kind of a big topic, is because we've had so many games come out that are locked at 30 frames that really, for their genre, it's not fun, dude. It's not good. If you get locked at 30 frames, games that like action RPG games, first person shooters, third person shooters, games like that, they so Redfall, right? Redfall on Xbox, or you want to talk about Gotham Knights, games like that being locked at 30 frames when we know the hardware was plenty good enough to get those games at a 60 frame rate. It was just the developers not doing a good enough job to get those games up at 60 frames. So it's a big topic in the industry right now. Tears of the Kingdom, obviously, we knew almost all, a lot of Switch games still run at 30 frames per second because that hardware just isn't there. It's not powerful enough. There are some games that try to run at 60, but they have a really tough time getting that done. Tears of the Kingdom is the kind of game that you want to run at 60 frames. Can it be played at 30? Yeah. And this is the big issue that we talk about a lot in the industry right now. Is there necessarily anything wrong with 30 frames per second? No. It's been a standard that's been around for a very, very long time. But I think that's the big issue, is that we've evolved technology-wise to a great extent since 30 frames per second was the standard in the industry. And especially, there are certain games where you don't need anything more than 30 frames. Talk about games like maybe Vampire Survivors or something like that, or like a lot of, 4X strategy games or something. You don't need anything more than 30 frames. It's going to look better if you have it, but it's not going to really affect your gameplay much or anything. Something like ARPGs, or shooting games, third person, first person shooting games, it can absolutely affect your gameplay between 30 to 60, even above 60 into 90 and like 120 frames. The faster you're seeing the action, the more smooth everything looks, the better your reaction times are. That's how all that stuff play. All of those things play together when you're talking about frames. So, sorry if it's off-putting for people for this topic to be coming up all the time, but it's a big topic in the industry right now. So I think fleshing it out from time to time is inevitable. We've got big developers that are locking their games down at 30 frames when their games are being put out on hardware that absolutely shouldn't result in their games being locked at 30 frames. And I'm not talking about Tears of the Kingdom either, but I do think that if you own a Switch and you own Tears of the Kingdom, taking a look at playing the game on an emulator where you can get 60 frames, because that's legal. If you own the hardware and you own the game, it's illegal to play these on an emulator. And we've actually got an article up, thanks to our buddy Mithril, right here. We're going to talk about it. That's absolutely something that I think is going to play to your benefit, for sure. We already watched this. One second, guys. All right, sorry. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Any kind of like serious action game, yeah, whether it be, you know, more of a combat style game, a melee kind of game, or a shooting kind of game, anything like that, you're going to benefit in multiple different areas from having that higher frame rate, right? I think that the higher the frame rate goes, the less of a benefit you're going to get, right? Because the higher the frame rate goes, there's a limit to what we can, the human eye is going to max out. Everybody's going to have a different aptitude for how quick they can, take in frames and stuff. But overall, there's a consensus in the like scientific field about how fast we can actually input, take input from what we see, right? Yeah. Yeah. And so, but I think there is definitely something to be said from like, there's a big jump from like 30 frames to 60 frames. That there's a significant jump there. And I think that's why the standard's become 60 for such a long time. Now, anyways, 30 was the standard a long time ago. It's still been around. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's just been gone. But we've been moving away from 30 for a long time. And now all of a sudden it's like we've got this like regression back to where they're like, oh, well, we'll just put these games that actually benefit from a higher frame rate back down to 30. And that's where I think a lot of the criticism comes from, is because people are going, man, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. You guys are putting these games out on these really powerful pieces of hardware, but like you don't know how to optimize it right, or you want to put an emphasis on. I think the thing that's crazy is like, fine. It's just like with Redfall, right? With Redfall, they were like, well, we're going to put it out in performance or quality mode first. And then we'll give you performance mode layers. So basically it was, we're going to put the game out at 30 frames locked. That way everybody can play the game at either 4K on a Series X or 1440p on a Series S, but you're going to be locked at 30 frames. And then later we'll give everybody the ability to play that game on high def, 1080p, and you can get 60 frames and, maybe even more or something like that, just depending, and it's like, how did you guys not have that as just an option out the gate, giving people that option? Because, and what I was reading about it was that I guess a lot of developers are under the impression that most gamers don't care about frame rate. All they care about is visual quality. Maybe I'm in the minority there. I don't know. I've been outside of in especially action type games like we're talking about. I've been outside of that. I will take. I mean, I run a 1440p monitor, right? But dude, I'll go down to the lowest resolution. I can get, if I can get up to like a higher frame rate that's going to let me see things quicker and be more fluid in the game without it degrading too bad, but it's weird to me that even with these big releases, they're not at least giving people the option to just go, oh, well, people only care about one thing. And they're just not even giving people the option. So they're just locking things out and going, oh, well, people only care about quality. Or on the flip side of that, to go, oh, well, people only care about performance. How are they not just having all these video options as, something people can choose from out of the gate? Is weird to me. Yeah, for sure, Ferret. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, on the frame rate thing for sure. Yeah, 30 to 60, that's a massive difference. 60 to 90 even, it's less drastic, but it's still there. And then as you continue to go up, it's less and less noticeable. I mean, I think it's one of those like the higher you go up, you're still going to benefit. It's just, it's a much less noticeable benefit, and it's just, and then you're going to cap out. We've got monitors that come out nowadays that are like 600 hertz and stuff, and it's like, dude, I don't think that you can actually get any kind of benefit out of a monitor. If you've got a GPU that can run that thing at 600 frames per second or whatever, I don't think you're going to be able to benefit from that, man. But people don't understand that. They don't think about that. And they just go, well, the higher the hertz, the better. The higher the hertz, the better. So companies just keep making like, faster and faster and faster. But really, I think what was the last I had heard was that I think, somewhere around 200 frames per second or something like that average. They keep kind of changing this a little bit, but it's like somewhere around 200 to 250, I keep reading, is like where you start losing the ability to actually differentiate anything. You can't really, the human eye can't perceive anything really all that faster, we can't take it in any faster than that and react any faster. So, but I haven't looked into it in a while. I think we've talked about this before. And yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Ferret. Yeah, but I think that's what I was getting at is like, give people the option. If people want to have a better, higher fidelity experience, resolution wise or whatever, and they're cool with having the lower frames, we give them that option. That's fine. But also have in there the option for the lower resolution, right, and the higher frames. People need to have that option to play the game the way they want to play the game. To just like make people play the game a certain way whenever you know that the capability is there for them to give people the options. How are they releasing games like that is what I don't understand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how are you even going to, because, I mean, we can only, as humans, dude, we're only so fast. We can only see things so fast. We can only react so fast. And it's like, you go look now, you got monitors that are just, like, stupid fast. It's insane. But I really don't think you can even receive or react to the amount, like the speed of those monitors, even half as fast as they actually are. It's really, really crazy. But I need to look into more of like what the new, like, more up to date scientific data is on what we can actually perceive, like per second for the human eye and stuff. I haven't looked into it for a while. All right, let's look at the other search real quick. It's so funny how fast speedrunners come out and speedrun games, It's really wild. There was like a day, I don't even know what the fastest speedrun is right now on Tears of the Kingdom, but a day after it released, people were already beating it in like under 2 hours or right around 2 hours. That's so wild, man. How do you even know like what you're supposed to be doing, where you're supposed to be going to get like things done that fast? You know what I mean? It had to start with the leaked games on PC. It had to, you know. Game releases have gotten so bad, Diablo 4 is being praised. Oh, dude. That's one of the things. That's one of the early things I noticed too, man. That's one of the early things I noticed too about Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, I have no idea either, but I noticed early in the game, like that was one of the big things that I felt like was lacking. Is like the bombs were huge. I loved the bombs. I loved the bombs. Um, but I did feel like it was weird that in Breath of the Wild, why we had two different sets of bombs, like one that was square and one was round. I didn't necessarily feel like that was needed. That was always kind of weird to me. I know it was because they wanted to make it to where some of the bombs you could just like set them down and they wouldn't roll, you know. What's up, Wick? Um, but I think you could have gotten everything done with just one version of them. Did some? Oh yeah, you're right. Some puzzles did require two of the bombs, didn't it? Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, I've forgotten about that. Good call. Good call. But yeah, I haven't. I mean, I haven't played extensively yet either. My son got home yesterday, dude, and he was jacked, dude. He's like, "Where's the Switch?" He was ready to get down, dude. You know? Yeah, he's gonna be playing all day today too. I know he's gonna be playing all day today. He's really jacked about it. He's really excited. It's fun seeing him get all jacked up. Like the way I used to get jacked about games. I've gotten so jaded, dude. I don't get like that anymore. It sucks. I'll it sucks to not be able to feel like that anymore about games. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, the Switch is in here, on my desk and everything now. So he knows. He'll just come in here and he knows I'm cool with him grabbing it if I'm not, streaming or whatever. So he'll just come grab it. He's playing Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, that's why he's so jacked right now. He's been playing Dragon Ball. He got some new DLC for one of his Dragon Ball games here recently. And so he's been playing a bunch of Dragon Ball, playing some Fortnite. He likes Fortnite. And but now he's just going to be stuck on Tears of the Kingdom. So whenever I'm not playing, he's playing, which I'm not doing any more gaming stuff until Friday. I need a break, man. I've got a lot of stuff I need to do and been feeling I don't know, man, off. I don't know how to explain it other than just saying off, dude. I've just been feeling off and I need to like reset. So that's why I'm taking some time off from gaming. But I remember, that feeling. I used to get that feeling a lot about video games. Unfortunately, I think that the industry has just gotten me so jaded. I don't get that feeling anymore, about game releases and stuff because I'm just always so scared they're gonna suck. I very rarely find a game that I just get really, really jacked about playing anymore. But my son, I see that in my son a lot. My son gets like that. He's just so amped, dude. So amped about playing games, and I love seeing that in him because it reminds me of the way I used to always be too. I love that. He just gets really, really excited and he loved Breath of the Wild. He beat Breath of the Wild before I even played it. So it's he was really excited to see this and play it and everything. And before he had even played it, they were away for the weekend and I had started playing it and he was asking me a bunch of questions about it and stuff. And I was like, dude, I don't want to spoil it for you. I was like, you're just gonna have to play it when you get back. I told him a little bit about it. Um, yeah, yeah, right, yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, that's kind of what. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Is like, I don't say very much to my kids about the games. I'll let them kind of form their own opinions. I've always been like that with my kids about basically all kinds of stuff. Though I don't want to, and I say that a lot, even here, like to everybody that's part of the community. Even well, this stuff is my own thoughts and opinions, and I appreciate everybody's input because there are going to be a lot of times where I have a certain viewpoint on something, but I might not be taking into consideration other aspects of what I should be. So having people flesh out these ideas with their own input, man, can be eye opening for me too. And I'm not trying to like necessarily push my own views on other people, but I do think there are issues in the industry that I have good points about things needing to change and get a bit better and stuff. And so sometimes, yeah, I do hope that people grasp onto part of what I'm saying and take heed of some of the advice and try to get us moving in a better way. But ultimately, I mean, I want people to just be educated on what's going on and make their own informed decisions. Really. I just talked about it, dude. You must not have been listening. I'm just not feeling good, dude. Um I've just been feeling a bit off and I just want to take some time to work on some other stuff and try to I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I guess get centered a little bit. You know. Well, the title says we'll be back to gaming on Friday. Mod. Yeah, I mean, what is this, bro? Oh, dude. It's not. It's not just. I'm not. I would say, yeah, maybe a little bit burnout. Maybe a little bit burnout. The industry burns me out, dude. It's tough, dude. For me, you guys know, I'm pretty critical of the industry, anyways, and to just be constantly being slammed with like bad stuff. It's I don't know, dude. It gets old having to deal with it all the time. So it takes its toll on me, man, having to talk about just the crap the industry feeds us all the time. And some of that is a little there's a little bit of burnout on the side of playing games for me. I think that I wanted to be psyched about Tears of the Kingdom, but Tears of the Kingdom also feels Breath of the Wild for me. I just finished Breath of the Wild, and so it almost just feels like a bit of an updated version of Breath of the Wild for me. So I'm not like, and that makes me feel bad too, because I know there are a lot of people psyched about the game, but I just don't feel the same excitement. Um, so there's like, that makes me feel bad because I think the game's good. I know it's not. I didn't ever expect it to be groundbreaking like Breath of the Wild was, but I know a lot of people are really psyched about the game, and for me, it's just Breath of the Wild. And so that makes me feel a little bit bad because had I had more time in between playing Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I might be a little bit more psyched about it. Um, just need a haircut. That's where all my power comes from, dude. Stop. Yeah, no. Well, no, yeah. I mean, look, the anger thing in games, that's not like an issue. I get uh in-game anger, the in-game salt or whatever. That I've always dealt with that, and I deal with that pretty well because I just play games on a hard difficulty, right? So that's something that's not a big deal for me. But just the being distraught with the industry in general, and just the lack of, I don't know, man. It's really off putting for me to just be dealing with because I feel like a broken record all the time. We talk about it all the time, and it just doesn't feel like anything gets better. And I think a little bit of that, that just makes me a little bit burnout. And then there have just been some other things that have happened here recently that have gotten me a bit jacked and I don't know, man. I'm not going to get into it too much, but I just need a little bit of time. There's I spend an insane amount of time just like streaming and working on content, and then there's always more stuff that I want to get done too, that I feel like I'm always sacrificing something to get other things done also, because so much of my time is spent streaming. We're working on content on the back end. So like if I'm focused on staying up to date on content as much as I can, then I'm sacrificing on trying to make new content, new fun things for the stream. And if I'm focusing on all that stuff across the board, then I'm sacrificing time with the family. And if it's I spend a massive amount of time all the time doing this stuff, and I need to just like kind of take a step back and reassess what's going to be healthier for me. I think that's part of what this is. what's going to be healthier for me moving forward, so I can have a little bit of extra time to get things done outside of just being live all the time, you know. So that's a big part of this too. I love being live and I love doing this all the time, but it's starting to take a bit of a toll with me not being able to feel like I can keep up with everything else I want to get done as far as back end content and trying to get other fun things done for the community and the stream, and you know, do things with and for my family and stuff like that. And so I need to take a step. I need to take a beat and step back and assess what might be a better schedule for me. I'm not burnt out on it. I love doing this, but there's just there's some things about it that I think I need to manage a bit better as schedule wise. So I've got to take a look at that. You know, there's a few different things that have kind of like come together right now that have made me realize I need to take just a little bit of time to get refreshed, you know, get myself back in order. And I love doing this. I love doing what I do, but I've been feeling a bit stressed just because I don't ever have enough time to get done what I feel like I want to get done for the channel and stuff too. So that sucks. I always want to do new fun stuff for the channel, and I don't feel like I have the time, you know. That sucks. So I've got to figure out a better way to get stuff done. I'm not cutting my hair, dude. You're such a hater, Wick. So for the next few days, 4 days, I'm just gonna try to relax a little bit, figure some stuff out schedule wise. It's not going to change our schedule a significant amount, but I might end up taking a day a week off, so I can focus more on anything else that I feel like I need to get done a week at a time, you know? Um, so that's something that I'm kind of throwing around right now. Whether it be things for the stream or content wise on, you know, whatever platform we're on, other platforms we're on, or just things that I need to get done for the family or whatever. So that's something I'm tossing around. It's probably a pretty good possibility that I'm going to start taking a day off a week. Just things like that. Not because I necessarily want to, but more because I need to. Just because I need to. So it's just, there's been like this, it's been feeling like a bit of pressure that I just can't get out from underneath, you know, because there's just a lot of stuff that's been feeling neglected because I go 7 days a week. And so I'm taking some time to assess, figure out what I need to do, try to get some other stuff worked on and taken care of. And that's really what it comes down to. It feels bad, dude, having to like getting to a point where, because I do like to stream every day and that's why I'm still doing the news every day, but getting to a point where like I feel like I need to take days in a row off from gaming because I feel like this, it sucks. I don't like that. You know, I like being here. I like playing games and I like hanging out with you guys and everything. So that feels bad too, but I've hit a point where I feel like I need it, you know? So yeah. I think that's kind of where I've gotten to as well, Farrah, is the idea that, and I don't know, I'll probably still maybe do the news on that day. I might not. There are different things that I need to figure out about what I want to do. Some of it might be some testing as we move forward and stuff like that. But for the most part, there's probably going to be a day a week that I take off just to try to make sure I've got extra time to get things done that I need to get done for us, for the community, and for myself and for my family and things like that. You know, I've just been feeling like I need to take a look at that stuff. So that's really what it comes down to. And I would be lying if I said it didn't make me start. It hasn't. If I said it hasn't made me feel a little bit burned out, you know, and it's not because I'm tired of playing games. It's just because there's all this other stuff, the whole time I'm playing games 7 days a week that I'm always thinking about. So it makes me feel like I shouldn't be playing games 7 days a week. And I think that's what the burn's coming from, you know. Elden Ring sold over 20 million copies now. That's a big chunk of change there. This we've already known. This is not a big surprise. Switch 2 could have a shorter time between announcement and release. So, um, if they even call it Switch 2, we don't even know what they're going to call it. And look, Nintendo is getting more and more tight-lipped about anything they do. I can't really blame them either because we see day in and day out in the industry nowadays where companies are constantly having information be leaked. You know, they're getting hacked, information leaked, whatever, man. Nintendo is I think getting more and more um pushed towards the other side of things where they're like, well, it's almost like the more that kind of stuff happens, the more Nintendo goes, we're not going to give you guys any information until it's about to happen. And so whatever Nintendo's next console is, I really don't think that we'll know much about it until it's about to release. I really don't. But I don't think we're that far away from it either. You know, I think that I think we'll probably have it within the next year, to be honest. There's a slight chance we might get it around holiday time this year. Clip this. There's a slight chance we might get it around the holiday time this year, but I'm not real hopeful for that. Maybe summer next year or something. More likely, even maybe a year and a half, maybe winter of next year. But I really think within the next year we'll probably have it. Play Diablo Immortal on your phone might help you feel better, dude. That's just that is grossly wrong. You know what that would lead me to do, man. That would put me over the edge probably. That would push me the entirely wrong direction, dude. Yeah, I take care of my equipment and everything too, man. I'm not a even whenever I rage, like I don't I'm not one of those people that like crushes things or like breaks stuff. I'm pretty good at keeping myself in check, you know. I'm a concerned rager, if you will. But dude, yeah, I'd probably need a new phone. Yeah, I might just eat it, just get real crazy, you know. Dude, have you guys seen the kind of stuff? I knew it was going to happen too. Any game that gives people creativity, you know, gives them free range creativity of building things, it's inevitable, right? Have you guys seen the crap that's being made in Tears of the Kingdom? God dang, dude. It is absolutely insane. There's some cool stuff, but then I mean, there's actually like just video after video after video of absurd, like adult stuff. I haven't seen a ton of it, dude, but it's like again, about any video game that gives you any kind of creative freedom, for building stuff, this is what happens. But there's just basically male genitalia being created all over the game, dude. This is what Nintendo gave us. With the ability to fuse and to stick stuff together in the game. This is what everybody's doing. Yeah, 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 dude. I know. It's. I saw I was on Imager yesterday, and I saw one video on Imager, and I was like, "Oh no, dude!" I'm not even surprised. It was funny, but yeah, bro. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just so wild. People are wild, dude. People are wild. I just really I'd heard that there's been a lot of stuff like that going on, and I saw one video on Imager last night, and I was like, yeah, that's it, dude. There it is. Final Fantasy 14 prepares for the Dark Throne, huh? They got a new expansion coming out or something. Spore, geez, I haven't thought about that game in a long time, dude. Let me see something real quick. I'll have to look into that. I need to do a bit more research about the whole capture card thing. But I mean, again, just naturally, everything I know about technology, that just doesn't make sense to me. Um, I mean, I never would have even thought about it being the case. Um, I think that using a capture card can offload. Obviously, using a capture card can offload. Like if you're streaming and stuff, it can be utilized to offload your how much hardware is being utilized, which can ultimately and there are different situations in using one, right? So if um if you're using one, it can ultimately lead to you not having to require so much out of your hardware to encode with and everything too. So your hardware can just focus more on gaming, which could lead to a better performance that way. But just taking an input from hardware and outputting it shouldn't change anything. You're still going to be capped out by whatever that hardware is, whether it be a Switch or a PlayStation or an Xbox or and whatever that hardware, that software is developed at. It shouldn't affect anything on the back end at whatever it can output at, no matter what your monitor's rated at hertz wise, you know. And that's just like for everything that I know about technology, and I've been in the technology world for quite a while. Now, I'm not saying that I mean, I need to research it. I don't have a ton of experience with capture cards and stuff, but that's just pretty logical as far as the way technology works. But I would need to maybe take a dive in and make sure that I'm on par there. So I'll have to do a little bit of research on that. But it's got my like gears turning. Mm, yeah. Well, again, I mean, whether you use an internal or an external, it's really just the same thing. They're better quality, and you know, obviously, I mean, different manufacturers and models and stuff like that. So, you know, there are ones that can take input at certain quality and output at certain quality, just depending on the the quality of the hardware itself as a capture card. But ultimately, that's all it is. And it's able to um, take that, right. It's basically just an input and an output. It almost works like a splitter too. So it takes that input from whatever. It can be an external device, um, what have you. It'll take it. It can put it into another device, like externally. It could put it into like a laptop or whatever to be encoded and pushed out, or internally, same thing. It's just being slotted into a PCIe slot. So it just takes that exact same video. You're able to internally throw it out into, you know, like OBS. At the same time, it pushes it. It's got an output as well that just pushes it straight out to your monitor. But just like with with anything else, if even if you weren't using the capture card, it would be like direct connecting it, right? So if you took the Switch and you were playing Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild for that matter, and you directly connected it on my setup to my 144 hertz monitor, it's not going to change that monitor. It's not going to change the output of the Switch hardware. I'm still going to get that same like frame rate that the hardware is pushing out because the monitor can't do anything for the Switch itself. You know what I mean? Voodoo 2 add-on card. Oh my god, dude, yeah. Yeah, it's been a long time since I heard about one of those. I didn't ever have one, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Go one more page here. See what we got. The smolder, dude. The smolder. I want to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I hope it's good. All right, let's just stick with what we got. These game news and Reuter articles are so hard to read. They're translated very, very poorly into English, so let's stick with this. Wait, what? Saw that last night. Wife wanted to do that for Mother's Day. GOTG3. Wait. What did I miss, dude? Oh. Yeah. I'm an idiot, dude. I was just talking about it. You saw it last night? Yeah, was it good? We just finally watched Everything Everywhere All at Once. We watched that here at home for Mother's Day, man. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Um, yeah, you enjoyed it. Good. I'm glad. The first two Guardians of the Galaxy are fantastic. I liked them a lot. So I was hopeful this next one would be good too. Um, This is like that I feel like this is that kind of role that really fits Chris Pratt real well, where he's like he does a good action star, but it's like I still have to have him be like funny, you know? It's just because that's I think the way I was initially introduced to him is he's just a very good funny guy, you know? And so having that mix of if he's going to be an action guy to still have a good amount of comedy behind him, I think that's where he shines for me, you know. But that entire cast is really really good, and all those characters are great. They work really well together. Great personalities, and I'm glad the third one's good too. That's great. Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was a good show. We finally watched that last night. It's definitely got some adult stuff in it, which I wasn't expecting. Um, which several sad moments. Word. Cool. Good. Sad's good. Sad's good. I like the movies that can incorporate maybe some of the not everything's not just happy. I dig that about certain shows. Oh, really? Oh, cool, dude. Good to know. Good to know. Nice, nice, nice. Cool, man. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Yeah. Yep. All right, game releases have gotten so bad. Diablo 4 is being praised simply for working. Yeah, I've talked about this a lot here lately, not just specifically about Diablo 4, but games in general. You know, it's almost like a a huge surprise now whenever a AAA game comes out and it actually performs fairly well, you know? Yeah, it's actually terrible, dude. It's terrible. Let's read this and we'll talk about it. D4 is set to release early next month, and Blizzard's sequel is apparently already doing something players claim other modern titles forget to do. The optimization of D4 received praise from its growing Reddit community on May 14th as the game had little to no FPS drop or performance issues. One eager Diablo gamer said they didn't have to check the video settings to try and optimize the game for it to just work. Another praised the performance on Steam Deck, which reportedly hit a stable 60 frames per second. Some chimed in to say it was puzzling because Diablo 4 actually runs well on max settings, even better than their copy of Diablo 2 Resurrected. However, one player pointed out this shouldn't even be a metric and that all games should just work without the need for gamers to be diving into the settings to figure out why there are issues, only to find out it was from the game and there's no fix. Thank you. This, exactly this. Recent releases have had this problem for quite some time now, with some disgruntled players even pointing to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as the biggest one. I don't think the biggest one, but it's definitely an example. It suffered from several performance issues at launch to the point where people bowed out of playing. Another one was The Last of Us Part 1, which was bombarded with negative reviews when it was released on Steam due to a hefty pile of performance issues. The most notable recently is Jedi Survivor. Video games have had histories of very bad releases and trash optimization ever since they've become more complicated. This shouldn't be the standard, and the Diablo 4 fandom is certainly celebrating that fact, at least for now. They won't be seeing those issues plaguing their game. Yeah, this is, dude, I talk about this all the time. It's so sad that instead of us, it should be the other way around. We should be totally surprised by a game that ever releases, especially from these massive developers with these insane budgets behind these games. We should be surprised if a game gets released and doesn't have great performance out of the box and doesn't give you all kinds of visual settings, video settings for you to play with just for whatever you want to get done in the game, you know? Instead, it is what we deal with all the time. And it's gotten me very, very jaded, man. I'm not going to lie about it. Where it's, you literally just expect nowadays any AAA game to get released almost anymore, especially from many AAA developers anymore, that if a game gets released and publishers, it's just going to be a piece of crap. It's just going to play like crap. It's probably going to have a combined issues of both performance and lackluster content. You know, it's we'll just stick with performance because ultimately you can't even hardly tell anymore if a game's going to have decent content because you can't even get the game played. The performance is so terrible on these releases anymore from AAA devs that you can't even tell if the content in the game is good because you can't even play the games. And it's become the norm. It's like the norm anymore. They're just crap. It's just crap. And so instead of being surprised at a crap game that comes out, we're surprised by a game that actually feels decent. That is so terrible. It's so bad. So yeah, I mean, and this is what I said this recently. Like for Tears of the Kingdom, this is a great time for Nintendo. I mean, take away the fact that there are so many people that get hyped behind a series just like Zelda, right? Just for them to be a AAA developer, be releasing a hype title that came out and performs pretty well, that's a win. In early 2023, well, I mean, dude, we're quickly approaching halfway. You know, we're well beyond the first quarter of 2023 now, and it's just been a plague of terrible titles. So for Nintendo, I think even if people weren't psyched about the fact that, and again, I think for Tears of the Kingdom, I was pretty sure this was just going to be Breath of the Wild 2. And that's what it feels like. It feels good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not busting on this game, but I think there were going to be people that were not real enthused or real happy with the fact that this wasn't going to be groundbreaking like Breath of the Wild. For me, I think that it's fine. Breath of the Wild was great. And for most Zelda fans especially, they're going to be absolutely fine with this. But there are going to be other people that are a bit turned off by the fact that it's not real groundbreaking like Breath of the Wild. Overall, it's a AAA game that's got a lot of good content and it performs. And that's a win for Nintendo. Just the fact that this is a game that came out that plays well is a win nowadays. Especially in this just polluted segment of AAA games that just gets released all the time that you can't even hardly play. So, what a great time for them. And I mean, it wasn't like it was something that they tried to do on purpose. They've been planning on releasing this game at this date for a long time. It just happens that no other developers can actually develop a game that feels good anymore. So it just played to their benefit, you know. Not that there aren't any. There are some. There are some AAA developers that still do a decent job. Decent to good job. But they're getting much further and farther between. That's for sure. There are a lot fewer of them. So, yeah, this is crazy, man. It's crazy that this is the world we live in now in gaming. Final Fantasy 14 Online prepares for the Dark Throne. Let's watch this real quick.
Peggy 16.
I would bid you join me. Fight with me for the salvation of all our souls. Now feast upon this dragon and its ardent longing for home with it.
Yeah, Ferret. Alright, dude. Sorry, man. God, that monster was adorable. What was that?
And we're traveling the realm in search of a means to end the Contra Memoria.
Everything seems to be proceeding apace. I dare say you would have been fine without me. Containment seal. Then thou wouldst make use of...
Shine Archange, commence your invocations. Tis time to open our gate. This is the moon of the 13th.
I've been waiting for this.
And one of them got what they deserved. Trusting fools. Like you would-be heroes. It always ends the same way. A knife in the back.
Even now, I struggle with fear and uncertainty. Day after day, I ask myself, what is right? Where do we go from here?
You will go no further. At last. The moment is at hand. Come, face me. The hero who shattered the wheel and brought salvation to the world.
Dark Throne. Cool, man. Patch 6.4. Final Fantasy XIV Online has revealed a new trailer and details for patch 6.4. Players are preparing for more adventures after Square dropped a new trailer for the upcoming patch. Update 6.4 drops into this hugely popular fantasy MMORPG on 23 May. We'll bring a ton of new content. Yeah, dude, that's right around the corner, a week from now, just over a week from now. Teasing the latest trailer. While you can take a peek at what's coming above, a recent letter from the producer stream dropped more details on what to expect later this month. Mainline story. The latest mainline story will continue the Warrior of Light storyline towards its final conclusion. Fully expecting an epic encounter in the latest raid 2. 6.4 patch will signal a conclusion to the Pandemonium raid series, as well as plenty of loot for overcoming this challenge. This isn't the only instance PvE content either. A new dungeon awaits in the either font. A new trial will be pit players against Golbez and plunge them into combat in Containment Bay Z1T9. Plenty of new side quests are also coming for anybody looking for something a little bit more laid back. And fishing will get a new update to fishing. Oh, dude. While you explore the new angling route up towards Kugain, you'll have plenty of time to check up on the rest of the incoming updates. These include PvP changes, support system updates, and island sanctuary updates. They've got a full list of the update, patch notes, and stuff right here if you guys are interested, all right? Wick, dude. Oh, bro, you getting ready for that big old 300 item order for tomorrow, dude? How's all the new employees panning out too, dude? Today's prep day, that's what I figured, man. Yeah. Just try to get as much of it ready to roll. Are you gonna have to like come in early tomorrow and like get everything like set up and ready for it? Oh my god, dude. 75 pounds of dry ice just to move the order. God dang, dude. So they're not picking it up. You've got to like, you're catering it and everything. Is that the case? You're like delivering it? Nintendo made $27 billion from first-party games so far across Switch's lifespan. Yeah, word. Okay. Oh, dude, that's crazy. I mean, you're just going to throw it in the back of the Prius or what, dude? Nintendo's first-party game sales made up 81% of total software revenue since the Switch's launch to present, representing over $27 billion in earnings. Should have charged more? Yeah, no doubt, dude. Unlike its competitors at PlayStation and Xbox, Nintendo has made most of its software revenue from first-party games. Kappa, dude. Yeah, how did you not put a Kappa in there? Come on, man. God dang it. Surprising no one earnings reports clearly show that people buy Nintendo hardware to play Nintendo games. What is surprising, however, is just how much money that the company makes from first-party games versus third-party titles. According to data published by Japanese games firm and analyzed by Tweaktown, Nintendo has made over $34.5 billion from software in the past 7 years since the Switch's release. Revenue from first-party games represents 81% of Nintendo's total software revenue, or $27.9 billion, almost $28 billion in total. On the other hand, third-party game revenues were 19%, or about $6.6 billion across the Switch's current lifespan. Bro, that is insane. Nintendo has confirmed the Switch recently broke 1 billion in game sales, which means the Switch platform makes up over 18% of all the software units that Nintendo has sold across the history of its consoles and handhelds. It's crazy, dude. That's a lot. I mean, I'm not like necessarily surprised. Again, the thing about Nintendo is and that they look, Nintendo, let's be fair, from a business standpoint, Nintendo has really done something impressive with their platform. They've distinguished themselves greatly and separately from what Xbox and PlayStation and even PC are, right? They've got a whole different segment that plays to, you know, don't get me wrong, it's a wide range of audience, but they play towards a demographic of like family, yeah, and youth. So kids and family, that's Nintendo. They've done that for a long time. And what they've also been able to do with that is make it to where they don't hardly ever put any of their stuff on sale. So when you talk about how much software they sell and how much hardware they sell and stuff, you're talking about hardware and software, especially their first party software, that hardly ever goes on sale. We're talking over like the past 7 years of the Switch. You know, we've talked about this quite often. I mean, you can even take a piece of software like Mario Kart 8, which was originally a Wii U piece of software that got ported over to the Switch, and has been on the Switch forever. You know, again, it was made for the previous gen console, the Wii U. Now it's been on Switch through its entirety, basically, and that game still retails at $60 on the constant. And now Nintendo's even upping, you know, to like everybody else in the industry, $70 a pop for their first party, you know, their big title, their tier 1 games and everything, and those are never going to go on sale either. Nintendo's done, you know, something in this industry that none of these other players really are able to do. Not PlayStation, not Xbox, none of these other primarily PC developers and stuff. They're able to hold strong on their price points, and they don't hardly ever have to put anything on sale. When they do, it's a big deal. When anything Nintendo goes on sale, it's a big deal, especially first-party Nintendo stuff. You know, first-party Nintendo stuff goes on sale maybe once or twice a year, and when it does, you're talking like a game that's been out like Mario Kart 8 for roughly 9 years, almost a decade now. That game goes on sale for $45. People are like, oh man, I got to go grab it. You know? So that's one of the reasons they're able to make so much money for so long. They've got these titles that just continue to sell like hotcakes, man, that sell it at full price point still. It's really interesting. You know, none of the other players in the gaming industry do this kind of thing. You know, and at the same time, it's really gross because like I talk about all the time with all the game players, especially in the console side of things, it's and Nintendo's the worst of all of them. There's no backwards compatibility, so you don't, it's not like you buy a game and you get it for whatever console comes out next. Like right now with Tears of the Kingdom, you're going to buy Tears of the Kingdom. You're not going to, their new console is going to come out to a year and a half from now, something like that. You're not going to get to play Tears of the Kingdom on their new console too, just because you bought it now. They're going to want you to double dip, buy it again for their new console also, at full price point, because their stuff never goes on sale, which is full price point $70 now, right? It's pretty gross. It's pretty gross. Yo. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. That made me feel so stupid. God dang, dude. I was even telling my wife about it. I was like, I'm so dumb. I was like, I looked at that schedule, I looked at that flipping calendar, and I was just like, I wasn't even looking at the dates or anything. I just like was like, oh, it's just Monday, dude. It's just Monday. I was like, Wick had to set me straight, you know. Oh man, I'm so dumb. All right, 5 games are leaving Xbox Game Pass today, May 15th. Here we go again. The first batch of departures for Xbox Game Pass on May have arrived. 5 games leaving the service later today. These are spread across console, PC, and Xbox Cloud gaming. There are also a 6th game appearing on the Xbox Game Pass app in the form of My Friend Pedro. Although Microsoft's official roundup on the Xbox website doesn't include this title, so we are assuming it'll stay put for a little longer. Full list of titles leaving Xbox Game Pass today, May 15th. Before we leave, Danganronpa 2, Her Story, Hearts of Iron 4, and Umurangi Generation. All right. They are being removed today. But if you're interested in owning these and you're a Game Pass member, remember you can get 20% off these games if you buy them before they're gone off Game Pass, okay? So I'll link this for you guys just in case you need it. Turn the thermostat down real low. Yeah. Fortnite swapping out Arena for a proper ranked mode. Ranked is Season 0, kicks off on May 16th. Ranked mode is coming to Fortnite, which will replace the Battle Royale's Arena mode this week. Set to launch tomorrow, Ranked will be playable through both mainline Fortnite modes, Battle Royale, and Zero mode, though players will be given a separate rank for each. As for how ranks are worked out, players will be able to progress through 8 divisions by eliminating opponents and placing highly in matches. You can check out the new Fortnite ranks below. Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, Diamond, Elite, Champion, Unreal. There you go. Yeah. Agreed. I like that they're doing ranked. That's pretty dope. I don't even play the game, but I think that's a nice play. While Diamond rank and below will each have 3 divisions, the top 3, Elite, Champion, and Unreal, will serve as single divisions. Those are going to be slimmer. There aren't going to be as many people in those ranks, right? So it won't make as much sense to have those with 3 divisions. Wish they were this good with all games. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what happens with a lot of software developers, though. They focus down hard on the games that are really successful for them. So I know, I hear you. Because it's like you can see the potential behind what they could do with most of their software, most of their games, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, you can't blame them for doing what I mean, this is very successful, so there's a reason why they focus in on these specific titles. But I know what you're saying, dude. You can see they know what they're doing, right? You can see that they've got the potential to make any game potentially very, very good, right? Right, yeah. Yeah, yeah. But again, I mean, I think it's like just kind of like what we saw with what was it, Rumbleverse? You know, there are a lot of people like yourself, you know, that liked Rumbleverse. There were a lot of people that liked that game, and it's like, I guess, you know, you can see where they had something good there, but I guess for them it was like it seemed like the investment in continuing to work and make it something better wasn't worth for them. I don't know. You know, this is big companies. It's not like they don't have huge divisions that are responsible for diving into the statistics behind whether or not they should keep, you know, trying to make the game work. But I mean, if people aren't playing it, I don't know, dude. You know, I think that's the for the live service space, especially live service space. You know, it's I think it's one of those like, well, if people aren't playing it and we've invested this much already, is it worth us to continue investing just to see if people will come back and play it more? You know, even though we know that they've got a lot of talent to be able to continue to expand on these titles and everything. I don't know. I don't know. I know what you're saying. So, anyone who reaches Unreal cannot be demoted for the rest of the season. Will compete to reach the top of a global leaderboard. Those playing in duos or squads will be given a party rank, which means everyone in the group will share the highest ranked party members' rank while queuing for matches together. However, players looking to jump into ranked with new Epic Game accounts will need to outlast 500 opponents in the Battle Royale before unlocking access to ranked. Additionally, the arrival of ranked play will mean Fortnite's arena mode will be retired with its launch. While Season 0 of ranked play begins on May 16th and will last until Chapter 4, Season 3 of Fortnite ends. According to this blog, Epic plans to use Season 0 to make any adjustments to issues and concerns that arise, while also working on additional features and overall improvements for when ranked starts following the normal Battle Royale season schedule. Okay. Yeah, if you need any of those links, I'll put this in. But I think that's a good move, dude. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good move by them. Square wants to release more higher quality games, starting with Final Fantasy 16. Square Enix tends to be unpredictable as a publisher. Take this year alone, for example. It released the highly promoted Forspoken to middling reviews, and then devoured their... What was the name of that dev? Yeah, that was kind of my yeah. I wanted to read all this, and we'll talk about Square. Square is one of the developers I grew up with, just being absolutely in love with. They make my favorite game of all. They made my favorite game of all time, you know. But man, I've really become very disenchanted with Square for different reasons. But you know. So yeah, they promoted the crap out of Forspoken. It was not very good. And then barely lifted a finger to advertise the critically acclaimed Octopath Traveler 2. Meanwhile, last year it dropped a ton of titles on Switch, none of which really had space to breathe. Speaking as part of a financial briefing, the firm indicated its intent to alter its strategy moving forward, focusing on more major releases with higher quality and global appeal. While that may seem like a fairly obvious direction for the legendary Japanese organization to adopt, it's probably fair to say it hasn't really been executing on it of late. The company told investors it's been working to stabilize its earning by increasing the number of subscribers to its MMOs like Final Fantasy XIV. It's obviously guarantees, which we just saw. They're coming out with an expansion on May 24th, right? 24th, 23rd, something like that. This obviously guarantees a stable and consistent revenue stream, which it says it can then reinvest into the development of tentpole titles. Moving forward, it does have some pretty mammoth releases in production. Obviously, next month's Final Fantasy XVI is going to be a titanic launch. Beyond that, it's got Final Fantasy VII Remake Rebirth and Kingdom Hearts 4 in development. Two titles that certainly fulfill its target of juggernaut projects with worldwide interest. We're looking forward to seeing what the publisher can do moving forward, because few companies can match Square Enix's output when firing on all cylinders. Yeah, but here's the deal, man. Also, what does Square Enix do all the time? So one of the ways in which I feel like Square really hinders themselves nowadays too is they want to do just you know, and they've done this for a long time now with PlayStation, right? But they do a bunch of PlayStation proprietary titles, right? Especially with Final Fantasy stuff. They want to do PlayStation first party titles, and then when they go to port things over, they're terrible. After that initial, you know, that time span is over of their games, whether it be Nier Automata or Final Fantasy or anything else, right? Whenever they finally decide that they're ready to put it on another platform like PC, they do a terrible job. They are notoriously very, very, very bad at porting their titles over to other platforms. They're gross. And like we talk about all the time, they lean on the fact that they've got the name Square Enix, and they lean on a lot of these titles called Final Fantasy, and they just know people will buy it. They don't even fix them afterwards. They let people buy it. They're perform terribly, and they don't even fix it. They basically wait on like the modding community to fix stuff, and they just go, well, you know, they fixed it. We don't really need to touch it. You know, it's really gross. Things like that. Or you get these really cool quotes coming out from like Final Fantasy 16's producer going, whenever they get quoted about, there was an interview where the interviewee was asking the producer, will this game hit PC? And he basically said something along the lines of, don't worry about that, just go buy a PS5. Like, and this was back whenever PS5s were still not real easy to get your hands on too. But it's like, okay, well, you know. So if it's that easy, then, you know, and you've got, you know, you just go buy everybody a PS5. If you want everybody to play your game that badly, you just go buy everybody a PS5 that needs one to play it on, okay? It was a bad look. Things like that, you know, and yeah, I mean, I don't think, here's the thing. No developer is immune to some bad releases, right? And let's be fair here. I mean, Square Enix is a big company that still produces some pretty quality content. I mean, they do a pretty solid job for their releases. Like, I think most people enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Remake quite a bit. I won't play it because it's, from what I understand, still kind of broken on PC. I need to take a look at it. I mean, we're like a year and a half later after PC release, and I don't think that Square really did much to fix it. It was a bad PC port, like I talked about. So I think their initial releases are pretty good. I think their content's pretty good on most fronts, but no developer and publisher is immune to some bad releases or what have you. And to be fair, Square didn't develop Forspoken, but their name's on it. And it was their subsidiary developer that created Forspoken, and ultimately they're the ones that are on the hook for not making sure that game was going to be of decent quality when it came out. So I think all the way around, you know, these big companies like this, whether you want to look at them as a developer or a publisher, if their name's going to be on content in any form or fashion, they've got to make sure that it's going to be quality, because it is going to it's going to result in people looking at their company going, well, your name's on it. It was kind of a piece of crap, and this is partly your fault, at least partly your fault, right? Depending on what side of it they're on as a publisher, or developer, or both, or what have you. There are a ton of people that play Final Fantasy 14. There are a ton of Final Fantasy fans out there. I'm one of them. But the other thing I want to hit on here is, like, Square wants to talk about wanting to release higher quality content and stuff like that. But they're also very, very, very public about the fact that they are trying to dive heavily into the Web3, NFT, blockchain space of things. And I'm just going to, I'll say the same thing I've been saying this entire time, that that side, like the crypto economy side of gaming, and all of those aspects that became trendy in gaming about a year to a year and a half ago. I never saw any developer trying to incorporate and develop those in a mutually beneficial way to both themselves and the gamer. The only things I was seeing were very, very scummy incorporations of basically the gamers and the consumers getting scammed. And it's not that I can't see the potential behind it. I'm just not seeing it being implemented in a kind of way that's mutually beneficial. And I can't help but think that with Square Enix being so kind of tunnel visioned in on the NFT blockchain, Web3 side of things, that a lot of what I've seen from them, and being a very greed blinded company over the past half decade anyways, makes me believe that they don't really have any kind of aim at making it a mutually beneficial incorporation of their games moving forward either. It's just a way for them to make more money off of people. So I don't know. Here's to hoping they continue to create high quality games for people to enjoy. But I will say they need to do a much better job on, if they're going to bring their games to other platforms outside of their initial release, they need to do a much better job. If they're going to be continuing to aim at diving into spaces like Web3, blockchain, NFT, stuff like that, they need to make sure that they're doing it in a way that's mutually beneficial to the consumer and the gamer themselves, and not just as a way for them to scum people out of more money. These are the things that are concerning for me about a lot of these big companies now, and Square is one that's been on my radar for a long time about really moving down the wrong path. As a developer that and publisher, I've been a fan of for a very long time. So we'll see how it goes. They can say all they want about wanting to make better quality games and stuff like that, but until they prove it, how much stock can you really put into that, Microsoft won't stick to a 12-month window for Xbox Game Showcase. Yeah, look, I think that this is just a result of what we've been talking a lot here lately about. The biggest issue that I think came out of this last year was Team Cherry and Silksong, which is the sequel to Hollow Knight, right? So when you talk about, at least for a lot of us in this community too, you talk about last year at the Summer Showcase, out of their showcase during the Summer Showcases, it was announced that within the next year we would have that game, right? So there's a lot of hype around that because we hadn't gotten much over the past few years about it. And so it was like, yes, finally we're going to get Silksong, The closer we've gotten, we're a month away now, a little less than a month away now from all the Summer Showcases kicking off. And that means we're 3 weeks away from that window being totally closed. And I think the closer we got to this point, we all knew that Silksong was going to get delayed again. And we know for a fact it has now. But I think now we're seeing where Xbox is like, and I'm going to read this and confirm, but I think they're going, we probably won't say that anymore. We're probably not just going to be like throwing out windows of going, these games will be here definitely within the next year, because they're getting criticized for it now, because there are a number of games they mentioned last year during their showcase that said they'd be here in a year, and they haven't been, right? Last year, Xbox decided to limit the content it showed off at 2022's Summer Showcase to games that were set to release within 12 months. While the move was clearly an attempt to deliver on showing more complete titles, it didn't really pay off due to multiple delays with projects like Starfield and Forza shifting to later on in 2023. Yep, it looks like Xbox may have learned its lesson with this year's gaming showcase. According to Jez Corden of Windows Central, Microsoft is ditching the 12-month thing for this showcase, as discussed on a recent episode of the Xbox 2 podcast. Corden did go on to say that his claim was mostly speculation based on games he heard will be at the showcase. Basically, he suspects Microsoft is planning on showing off certain titles that are likely to be well over a year away from launching. We've heard nothing on the format of the show directly from Microsoft yet, aside from the fact that Starfield Direct livestream will take place right after the main Xbox game showcase concludes. Yeah, we knew that, which is supposed to happen on the 11th of next month. I'm going to have an entire schedule set up for everybody for us to take a look at the end of this month, and it'll be linked up. I'll have a Google Doc set up so everybody will know what showcases are happening when, coming up in June. You'll know when we're going to watch them here in the channel, all that stuff, okay? I'll let you know when all that's taken care of and completed. Aside from the so it goes without saying that we should all take Corden's words as rumor for now, even if Windows Central Journalist has a decent track record, all told. During a recent interview on the Kinda Funny Xcast, Xbox's Phil Spencer did reel off a bunch of upcoming games he's been checking out internally ahead of the show. Boss mentioned Starfield, Forza, Hellblade 2, Avowed. Hellblade 2 and Avowed are two that I'm actually pretty hyped for. Hellblade 2 is looking amazing with Unreal Engine 5. Hellblade 1 is a pretty acclaimed game, and I own it, but I haven't played it yet. So what I would like to do is play Hellblade 1 and then Hellblade 2 back-to-back once Hellblade 2 releases. Avowed is one that we've all been waiting for a long time too, that we thought we were going to get information on last year during the summer showcases that didn't happen. And if you don't know what Avowed is, it's a first-person medieval type game. Think along the lines of something like Skyrim, Elder Scrolls stuff, because that's going to give you a good idea of what we're talking about. But it's set in the world of Aora, which is the Pillars of Eternity universe. So all of the Pillars of Eternity fans are really, really excited about what is potentially going to be coming to play here for us in the world of Avowed. We'd expect most of these to appear in the show in some fashion. We were actually told there was a lot of rumors we were going to get Avowed last year, and it didn't show up at all. So, and there's been speculation so far that some of the trailer, the only real trailer that's out right now for Avowed and has been out for quite some time, has some of the same like effect stuff in it that you're seeing in the background of the Xbox Showcase announcement for June. So that's why a lot of people are thinking that Avowed is going to be part of the Xbox Showcase this year. Yeah, I mean, in regards to this, I think that we all know that and expect nowadays that delays are going to be a thing. And so we're accepting of that. I think especially whenever it's just a delay or two, and especially if these developers are being open and communicating with us and going, this is why we need to do this, and it doesn't sound like some just generic bullcrap that they're throwing our way about why they need another delay. And it's different than take what is it, the flippin' pirate game dude from Ubisoft, or Skull and Bones. Is that it? Skull and Bones, I think, is the one they're coming out with. That's been delayed like 6 or 7 times now. That's a different kind of situation. Why are they even announcing dates? Why did they even start announcing dates so far back if that game was so far away from actually being ready? That's a big issue. You shouldn't be willing to put dates out there if that game is nowhere near being finished. And obviously it wasn't if you needed 6 to 7 delays at this point. That's something that's just not really acceptable. Developers need to be better about making sure that they're pretty close to being able to release the game before they start pushing out any kind of release date. That way they don't find themselves in a situation where we're just getting completely sketched out by the fact that they're having to do delay after delay after delay after delay. They're not helping themselves, I'll tell you that. All that's doing is making us all very, very scared about whatever they're trying to bring to the table for us as far as a product. All right. Shout out to our buddy Mithra. This is the last article I have for the day. If anybody has anything to add, let me know in chat, and I'll address it before we move on to waiting for... I'm not doing gaming until Friday. So, sorry. I'm just so used to saying that, but taking a bit of time off. So, We'll keep doing the news every day, but no gaming content until Friday. So we'll just call it after this, and then we'll just prepare for doing the news again tomorrow. Okay. But if anybody has anything to add, let me know, and I'll address it before we move on or finish up for the day. One day post-launch, the developers of Switch emulator Yuzu announced that Tears of the Kingdom is playable full speed on most hardware with no hacks needed. With the release of Nintendo's follow-up to Breath of the Wild has been exciting enough on its own, Its saga in the emulation and modding scene has been an absolute roller coaster. On May 13th, one day after Tears of the Kingdom officially launched, developers of Switch emulator Yuzu announced that the game is fully playable with native Switch-level performance attainable on most modern hardware with resolutions in excess of its original 900p, accessible with no external hacks required, just the emulator, and your own legally dumped copy of Tears of the Kingdom. Yuzu's announcement also mentioned 60 frames per second, cheats, and more with mods. Why would you want cheats in that game, dude? And that's where things do get a bit hairier. At the time of writing, it still appears that only Tears of the Kingdom 60 frames per second patch is the one hosted on the new Yuzu Piracy subreddit. If the name didn't clue you in, this is a very laissez-faire community with no official connection to the developers of Yuzu, and its 60 frames per second patch is almost certainly based on the Tears of the Kingdom leak from a few weeks ago. Yuzu's own mod page does not yet list any projects for Tears of the Kingdom, so if you're trying to stay on the right path, you'll want to stick with the resolution and frame rate stability improvements over native Switch offered by the emulator itself, as reported by my colleague, PCG's senior editor, Wes Finland. For all the excitement around Switch emulation and the massive performance and graphical gains to be had over the original hardware, the tumult around Nintendo's biggest release since 2020's Animal Crossing New Horizons has been one heck of a headache. A full build of Tears of the Kingdom leaked weeks early, and Nintendo responded by DMCAing the popular lockpick tool for dumping Switch game decryption keys for use in emulators. The developers of an in-progress Switch emulator for Android, Skyline, abandoned work on their project for fear of legal repercussions, and curious sorts who wanted to dip into Tears of the Kingdom and potential mods early via piracy were met with a minefield of malware. All of that unpleasantness aside, you can now legally dump your own copy of Tears of the Kingdom to play on PC with equal or greater performance to the original Switch on a wide range of hardware. On Reddit PC Gaming, I'm seeing users report rock-solid frame rates beyond 1080p resolution on 3000 series graphics cards. The other major Switch emulation project, Ryujinx, looks to be roughly on par with Yuzu. This video from YouTuber Killcat shows Tears of the Kingdom running at a fairly solid 1440p, 30 frames per second on the positively ancient GTX 1060 mid-range GPU. Meanwhile, I'm probably going to stick to playing it on my dinky 2017 OG Switch resolution. Be danged. I just love the form factor. Okay. Well, yeah, I think that this is really interesting. And again, look, I think that what people need to understand is that you are allowed to emulate games, and this is one of the a big reason why emulation is great. The Switch hardware is old and it's limited, whether you talk about resolution or frame rate or things like that. And I can tell you, I know that other people have said they haven't really noticed it, but I have. I've noticed, not significant, it hasn't affected my gameplay, but I've noticed some frame rate issues where the frames will tank a little bit. It'll get stuttery from time to time. And ultimately, if you own the game and you own a Switch and you can emulate this on some better hardware to where you can get a solid 60 frames and it plays smoother and it plays better, why not? I think that's where emulation comes into play and can provide you with a better overall experience if you have that option. In my opinion, go for it. I mean, aside from the fact that emulation has been a great thing for providing us the ability to maintain video gaming history, where a lot of these developers have prevented that and removed our access to video games that they don't provide us anymore. Emulation's been great for that, but this is just another example of where emulation is good. Now, on the flip side of that, if you don't own the game and you don't own the hardware, if you don't own a Switch and you don't own Tears of the Kingdom digitally or physically or whatever, you should not be doing this. That's pirating, right? There's a big difference there. You've moved over from just emulating the game that you already own, which is legal, to actually pirating the game. And that's not fair. It doesn't promote a healthy industry as far as I'm concerned. And we can get into the ins and outs of this all day long. It's not like I don't understand why people have resorted to these methods over time. There's been a lot of bad things that have happened in the industry from AAA developers, making people feel like they shouldn't have to pay for games anymore because they've been cheated out of their money too often, things like that. I get it. I understand that kind of thing. But I think developers need to be better. Us as consumers need to be better. If we can all try to, and I know getting everybody on that same front of progressing to be better all the way around is not an easy thing to do. And it's, well, if they do better, then I'll do better. And then the other side says the same. Well, if they do better, we'll do better, whatever. It's not real easy, man. I get that, but it's I'm just always going to try to promote a healthier way for us to try to get the industry moving forward. That's just what I'm passionate about, and I'm going to continue to try to do that. So, but this is a great article. Thank you, Mithril, my friend. I appreciate it, buddy. And I don't know if you're playing it on the Switch, you're not enjoying the gameplay on the Switch too much because of the 30 frame rate lock and the lower resolution and stuff, then maybe consider taking a look at doing some emulation for it. But be very careful, okay? Because once you start getting into this emulation stuff, you do run the risk of maybe getting into some riskier sites to grab some of these things. And you need to make sure you're getting official emulation stuff that is clean and not riddled with things that can affect your other hardware, like your PC or things like that. Okay, so just be very careful. There's your link. That's the news, man. That's the news. You guys rock. I appreciate you. I hope everybody understands. I love playing games, and I love hanging out with you guys too. I've just hit a spot here where I need to kind of take a look at how I can manage things a bit better for myself as far as everything that I want to, I like to do and want to and need to get done, I feel, for this community, because I feel like I'm losing on some fronts because I just don't have enough time, so just trying to take a step back, reassess, figure out how I can do better. Okay. And that's really what this is about for me. So, we'll be back to gaming on Friday. I love playing games. This is the world that I love. It's what I'm passionate about, and I love hanging out with you guys and doing it too. So, we'll continue doing the news every day until Friday, and then Friday we'll be back to gaming. So, just hope everybody understands. I just need to do this to kind of reset and assess some things on my own end a little bit. But, you guys are amazing. I appreciate you very much. We will get back at it tomorrow. 6 a.m. CST, same time as always. We'll kick it off with video gaming news, like we always do, man. That'll be for May 16th, and we'll see what else we can find to stay current on, okay? If anybody else is checking out this content and you're enjoying it, we've got all kinds of other videos out there, from video gaming news, clips from video gaming news segments, playthroughs of games that we've played here in the channel, and just clips from all kinds of stuff, the gameplay, things like that, the funny things that have happened in the channel, stuff like that, that you can check out either as highlights on the Twitch channel or VODs on the YouTube channel. And if you're enjoying any of it, I would just prompt you to come hang out with us. We have a great time here. We've got a lot of awesome people that are part of this community, and we would love to have more people that are like-minded come be a part of what we do here, okay? I guess other than that, man, you guys just thanks for being you. Thanks for always being a part of what we do here. Stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another. And I will catch everybody tomorrow for May 16th edition of Video Gaming News. All right? Have a good day, guys.